New updates in the case of embattled Georgia DA Fani Willis as she fights back against accusations that she acted improperly by hiring her alleged lover to serve as the special prosecutor in the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump. Now, Willis has been accused of having an affair with Nathan Wade, the special prosecutor, and was set to give a deposition in his ongoing divorce hearings. Her deposition had been delayed until Wade himself is questioned on Willis's involvement in the divorce. Now, during a Monday hearing, Willis's attorney argued that his client couldn't be deposed at all given how busy she is dealing with Trump's election interference case. The presiding judge did not seem convinced and cut the attorney off. Take a look.
Coordinates on a monthly basis at least 500 or more cases for indictment. So in this case, of course, the most recognizable issue is that she's dealing with, over in Fulton County, the election interference case involving former President Trump.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Axson, let me interrupt you. Let me ask you just to focus on the part of the law that says the proposed opponent lacks unique personal knowledge of any matter that's relevant. Are you saying that your client lacks unique personal knowledge that could not be discovered some other way?
I would argue that she does, that the knowledge that she may or may not have is not unique.
But some are arguing this is all just a distraction, and that while the allegations against Willis are indeed bad, they don't change the merits of the case against Trump. Elie Mystal at The Nation has argued as much in a new article, writing, "The whole thing looks awful, but Willis represents the state of Georgia. She is not the state of Georgia. If she and Wade were kicked off the case or eloped to Fiji or quit to star in the next season of Love Island, the state of Georgia would still have a case. If every criminal trial stopped because a prosecutor was throwing money to some bit on the side, we'd have to open the jails and free a whole bunch of people." All right, what do you make of this, Robby?
Well, I mean, sure, that seems like that's accurate, that the case will still just be brought by different people. Now, I know that the prosecution never likes to have to restart a case because I think it lowers their success. Just tactically, they don't want to do it. But that's going to be what they're going to have to do in this case. It's fine.
It's not clear to me that that's...
I mean, it hasn't gone very far.
Yeah, I think...
So it might not matter.
Elie Mystal, he was arguing that the case is, there's already people who have taken pleas in this case. It's not something it's not going to get started all over again. We're in midstream. So the implication of what he's written here, and he's a much more knowledgeable lawyer and legal journalist than I am, seems to be that they would just be on the outs and they would be replaced, which has no real implications for Trump's prosecution, other than maybe some delays, people getting up to speed, et cetera. But given some of the allegations are that Wade doesn't have any special insider knowledge here, it might actually be an improvement for the management of this case.
Yeah.
And Ellie's argument here is that Fani is bad and there's no defending her. He makes that very clear up top, but that Trump's team has also sort of overplayed their hand in trying to say, well, you got to basically drop out the charges against me because there was this misconduct. Yeah,
there were more details in Axios about the actual dollar figures involved here. So he was hired for $650,000 so far. $250 an hour is what he's being paid. And again, then the corruption part of it is that they're alleged to be together, and they took trips together, and he paid for her trips. So it's a kind of kickback if for her to hire him, and then receive some of that money back in terms of the vacations they were taking together. Looks real bad, and they're not, and no one at this point is really denying that they were in fact involved in taking these trips. Yeah, so that's pretty confirmed now. Yeah, Elie points out that although she's denied impropriety, she has assiduously avoided denying the underlying claim that she's in a relationship with Wade, which speaks volumes. And in that, so basically her lawyer was saying there, she can't be bothered with this. She's saving the world from Donald Trump. And the judge was like, that's not gonna work here. Yeah, I actually really appreciated the even-handedness of this Nation piece from Elie, because he's very upfront with his feelings.
He's like, I would love to
yes,
be able to
I
defend
see,
her, but I just can't. There's just no defending her. And he says that just because it looks like a bad faith hit job, he points out that the person who dug this up was
right.
the
political operative.
for Donald
Who's on
Trump.
trial? Who is one of the
Oh, I didn't realize
yes,
that.
No. He's fighting for his own life too.
Sure. But just because it looks like a bad faith hit job doesn't mean it can be ignored. And he acknowledges this. If true, the relationship looks a lot like a kickback scheme. There's no law against hiring your lover, though there probably should be.
Yeah.
But there absolutely are laws against public graft. And he points to the accusation that they go on trips together, that he's paying for those trips with salary that he's gotten from the job that he wouldn't have had without his lover, and that is what it is, and that we shouldn't try to sweep that aspect of it under the rug.
Remember when she was with the church last week or something, saying that this is what they're trying to do to black women out here.
Right. I should point out that Ellie Mistel's a black man, and there's nobody, I think, no matter what your politics are, that should be, or what your race is, that should be defending this. But that doesn't, you don't have to, because it really doesn't go to the question of whether or not the criminal case against Trump should go forward.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess we'll proceed. It is kind of funny. It's such an own goal.
It really is.
This was the person in charge of it, and someone who had what was she thinking? That this would not get uncovered and people wouldn't object. It's so obvious that this is a big screw up for you, and then it's not good for the case. Maybe it does ultimately change things, but it's not like, yes, this happened to our side.
Yeah, and obviously this should not be a political issue, but let's not lie to ourselves, it obviously is. And the Democratic Party as a whole has an incredible investment in the outcome of these cases. This case in particular is one of the strongest against Donald Trump.
Yes, and the most consequential, because it'll be harder for him to get out of it if he's convicted, because it's a state case, he can't pardon himself from it.
Exactly. So for them to basically have allowed this to be mismanaged in this way, I'm sorry, it's a searing indictment of what are they actually doing over there, and why is it so hard for them to get professionalized and actually execute on any of these plans. I mean, they seem, at least rhetorically, to have been to be hanging the entire fate of the Democratic Party in the 2024 election in this idea that they are resisting the corruption of democracy. They are upholding democracy. And these cases against Donald Trump are really the linchpin of that argument in a huge way. And to not have scoured the country for the very best attorneys, Georgia, at the very least, for the very best attorneys to be involved in this, and to not have the level of oversight that would have prevented something like this from tarnishing what is otherwise a really important case, is negligence of the highest order.
Right. I mean, it will cause some people to think that, see, the other side's corrupt too.
Right.
Which is the whole issue.
Right.
Yeah. Fascinating. I'm sure we'll continue to follow this as it develops, and we will have more Rising right after this.